Okay, we're live. Only about 12 or we're probably about a minute late, but that's okay. Here we are. Hi, Brad. How's it going?
Hey, good, Pat. How you doing?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Just watching a little bit of Olympics and trying to catch up on stuff today. So,
Yeah.
but hey, it's exciting. I hit 400 subscribers.
Yeah,
So,
congrats. I saw that. That's super.
yeah. So it's been a little, a little bit slower going the last couple months, but you know, we'll get up there. And so yeah, thanks to everybody who's out there subscribing and who's watching this week after week. And I've got to get it back out there. I've got some goals to make a bunch of videos and tutorials and everything. I just have to make the time for that during the week. And of course, we've got some regular stringing hangouts every week, and so hopefully we'll keep that going and bring some other guests on. And I was going to ask you, Brad, PCS tennis last week. Yeah, let me hold on. Let me get to my comment section so I can make sure if there's any comments coming in. Okay, so last week PCS tennis, I got on a chat with him after we met, after we were done with our live stream, and he was asking me. He was just talking tennis and some of his experience and stuff, and he was saying, "Hey, why don't we put a link?" The live feed link in the the description of the live feed so that other people can join us. And I was thinking, well, that'd be kind of a cool idea, but I don't know, once we get 5 or 6 people in here, I don't know how that would work,
Yeah.
because if we're trying to have a conversation and answer questions, it might kind of run on. I'm not quite sure how that would work, but I was thinking I might put something in the description. If anybody wants to join the live stream and just kind of hang out with us one week, uh, we could take the emails, and get back to everybody, and then kind of see how we can make that work, and then just have different people come on that are interested, maybe join in the conversation, but just start with maybe one or two, and maybe and see how that goes before we have really a large audience, because I don't think there's a limit to how many I can stream necessarily, or how many people can join the stream, but I'm not sure how productive that would be. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. But yeah, I worry about, sometimes I try to be careful not to talk over you or, blend in. So it's just the more people you get, it becomes a little bit more of a challenge and stuff. But certainly one or two others, I think it would be fine. When we did the one, you had Herb and myself on. I thought that went pretty well and stuff. But you just have to remember, there's a lot of times that everyone has to be quiet while the other person is talking. So it's just kind of one of those disciplines where you try to just be aware of that.
Yeah, and I think with Stream Deck, I'm not sure if I can mute everybody else or not. I'll have to look into that to kind of see how that works. But hey, if we can do that, we might try it with 4 people even. We can get Herb on again, and then get another guest on if anybody else wants to jump on, and we can kind of have some conversation. We'll see. I know Herb's been probably stringing a bunch of college rack players down there, so it'd be kind of fun to have him on again. But anyways, here we are, 400 subscribers strong. I remember when we hit, when I got 50 or something, I was like, oh man, this is a long road, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of getting started and stuff. But it's fun to see it grow, and watching some of the other little channels as well, kind of see how they're also progressing. So that's all fun. So I just thought today, let's just answer a few questions. These are just a few questions that came in this last week, and so we'll see where we can go with those. And if you have anything else you want to discuss, I don't know. Did you buy anything this week, or let's start with that, I guess.
Yeah, I did not buy anything this week, but I'm low on Solinco Confidential. I'm low on Solinco Hyper G, and I'm low on Head Links. So I think I'll be placing an order possibly after, this call, because I order from Europe. So while I'm asleep, they'll probably start processing the order and ship it out tomorrow. So I think I'll get probably 3 more reels. So that's kind of all I really need now. But I've got, one client who breaks, maybe once every 4 to 6 weeks, who likes the confidential. you and I have talked about confidential. It has great tension maintenance in the 20%, so that's really good for a poly. And then, just a lot of people like Hyper G. Solinco Hyper G is a very popular string. So, I have multiple people that use that. And then I have one player that uses head links. And he likes it quite a bit. And it's a 16 gauge, but he's still, I still string quite a few for him. So
Yeah, you might as well buy it by the reel. That way you don't have to worry about, what you buy a few sets and then it's like, oh, I need another half a set, or
right.
at least the reel will last you for a while. And plus, we've talked about this before, where the price is just so much better when you buy a reel. Just
Yep.
in general. I mean, you're always going to be saving money when you're buying a reel. Sometimes maybe not as much as with other, reels versus sets, but in general, you're always going to save some money as long as you keep a good record of how many sets or how many half sets you take off, and you do that pretty well as far as marking it and so forth. So you always know how much you have left on your reel. So that's never a problem, because I know sometimes when you have a reel, you're just like, hey, I can waste string. I got reel, I got a whole reel, but that's not really the
Right.
mindset that you should be having. You should be having, hey, I have the opportunity to save some money here. I have it all in the reel. I don't have to worry if I run out, but I do need to keep track of every foot of string that leaves this reel. So that's important.
You get like one free set of string, basically,
Mhm.
sometimes more. So
Yeah,
it's instead of just getting that labor for that one racket, you get, the labor and like a free set of strings. So
yeah.
kind
And do you shop? Are you shopping around? And like, if I can buy one reel, I mean, because I know over at the UK, where you buy a lot of your strings, where I've placed an order or two there too, and because the shipping is just so awesome. I mean, I can't even talk. How
yeah.
how inexpensive and how quickly it comes over. But as far as, do you still shop around to see if I can buy a reel cheaper somewhere else? But then of course you got the shipping, offsetting the discount that you're saving, or
Yeah.
what's your approach to that?
Well, so if I have time and I don't need it immediately and I can find it maybe $5 or $10 cheaper somewhere else, I'll take a chance and get it. But if I need it quick, I know that the WD or Tennis Depot UK, I know they ship very quickly, and so I can get it right away. Now, if I need something urgently, then I might order, one or two sets and just get it on Amazon, or whoever can guarantee like 2 day shipping in the US. I might pay a little bit more, but if there's a pressing issue and a player's going to a tournament and I need to get it here in 2 days, that's the only time I would go. But then that would be just an irresponsible move on my part, that I didn't realize my inventory was so low and I have to order something so quick. So that's why it's important to be up on your inventory, what you've got, and and that way there's no real surprises and stuff. But generally, I do look around, and once in a blue moon, I'll find an obscure shop that I've never heard of that's offering. Sometimes it's just too good to be true, so I don't even test it. It's if it's 50% cheaper than what you get it at the cheapest place you can ever find it, chances are, something's going on. If they don't have, a good support, a phone number where you can actually reach someone and talk to someone and really get more comfortable, I would never touch it. So
Yeah, and I don't know, Amazon, I haven't had a lot of success there, just because a lot of the prices there are pretty high, because a lot of the folks there are resellers, and they have to have a certain margin in order to even make it worth their value. And
yeah,
I don't know if there's any large discounters that are selling through Amazon. There probably are with
yeah, I think
tennis. There's probably a few guys, so it's probably about the same. I just like, the thing I love about Amazon is just the shipping. I mean, you get it quick, and free shipping. For if you're a Prime member and stuff, and where I live here in Hawaii, you have to be an Amazon member pretty much, because
yeah.
I mean, half the stuff you buy, you get off Amazon. I remember when we were in COVID lockdown, I was trying to buy groceries on Amazon.
Wow.
So it worked a little bit, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's a little
food.
more challenging. But yeah, you get anything shipped with Amazon. Sometimes shipping's more expensive than the item's worth.
Yeah,
I've had some pretty heavy, like, we don't have any cat food anywhere in the stores here, which is weird. I don't know why, and there must be a lot of people feeding cats or something. And so I buy my cat food off of Amazon, and that's like, that thing weighs like, a big case of cat food weighs a lot, right?
Yeah, I just got
And free shipping, and so it's I don't know how, how people can ship for free like that. But anyways,
yeah.
that's not why we're here. We're here to talk tennis.
Yeah, one of the things that was interesting this week, and I don't know if you've been following that at all, but there was on one of the Facebook pages, there was some talk about Nadal switching from 1.35 millimeter gauge string to 1.30. And it was a pretty long thread, and it involved someone who knew a racket technician that dealt with Nadal. And then there were a few that chimed in that strung at the Australian Open and at the ATP Cup. And one of the guys actually strung Nadal's rackets. And so they were going back and forth. And it was kind of interesting to see that the guy that strung Nadal's rackets actually, they were still 1.35 during the Australian Open. And this other guy was kind of like not believing him. He's like, wait a minute, my buddy's the technician. He told me. So it got to the point where, well, maybe he tried it. Maybe he's experimenting in a practice session or this and that. But during the Australian Open, he still used that thick Babolat RPM blast, right? And but that was kind of interesting. Is Nadal, now he's getting a little bit older? Does he want a little bit more pop? Does he want a little bit more forgiving string? A little less stiff. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes down to a 1.3. 1.35 is pretty thick, especially with a poly like that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I mean, you can obviously when he hits so hard and stuff, but and he only needs it in there for a couple sets. But yeah, I think every little bit he's probably going to be able to tell a big difference between just that, just because he's always used to using that same string. And I think he probably has that feel, so he can probably tell.
Oh,
But yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to
there's
follow up on that.
hey, Savi. I don't know. Can you see comments? Savi had a comment.
Oh, yeah, 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 talking about, so let's see, a friend of mine at a tennis shop where I'm stringing my racket gave me a gift, great, he got a multi-string, he got Babolat, Envy, and what can you guys tell me about that string?
You know,
So, yeah.
issues right now, but maybe you can pull up Tennis Warehouse. I don't know a lot about it. It's is it a multi-filament.
Yeah, yeah, I remember it some years back, I haven't because I think it's been around for some time, I haven't used it, in quite some time, but I think in the past when I had, um let me see if what Tennis Warehouse, um, so I can like kind of rewind,
I think I lost you. Can you hear me?
yeah, 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 I can hear you. So let's
You
work
may
on
have
one of
hit
these.
mute. I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't? No, my mute on. That must be on
Maybe
your
I hit
side.
mute.
Yeah, I think you hit mute, but I can hear you, but you must not be able to hear me. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties here, huh? Can you hear me now? All right. Well, we just lost Brad for a moment. He'll be back. So we'll go ahead and look up that string. But yeah, I just wanted to answer some questions this week. And so um, let's see, talking about starting clamp. So one of the questions that came in this week, I was wondering if a starting clamp would still work if you keep a length of string in it to use as the bridge. In other words, do you recommend that we get two starting clamps? Oh, I think Brad is back. Oh, hey, Brad.
Hey, sorry, guys.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going over it. We'll have to get back to Saviv's question here in a minute. But the first question that I got this week, I'll read it again, and then Brad, we can chime in on that. I was wondering if a starting clamp would still work if you keep a length of string in it, like you do for the bridge. In other words, do you recommend that we get two starting clamps, one to use for the traditional starting clamp and one to use for the bridge? And I think this is a good question, and this is maybe one that we should answer here because I think we've talked about that in the past, where it's a good idea to have two starting clamps because once you set one up for the bridge and you have that, you have a piece of poly string in there with the all ready to use as a bridge. And what we're talking about a bridge is really bridging a very short string that can't make it all the way to the tensioning. So you might have come a little bit short. You didn't measure correctly, or you didn't anticipate that extra main, and so now you don't have enough string. You have enough that comes out of the racket and enough to tie a knot, hopefully, because if you don't have enough to tie a knot, then it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what kind of bridge you use. It's not gonna, you're not gonna be able to stretch the string that long. Um, but you don't have enough to actually go to your tension head. Then you use a starting clamp that has, you're using it as a bridge, and you have another piece of string on it. So what you're doing is you're fastening your part of the string to the clamp, and then um, the string that was already wrapped around the starting clamp will go to the tension head. So
And
it's
Herb and yourself and Herb also, and I think it's a great idea is to use Kevlar for
yeah.
that clamp string. And also another thing that Herb does that I started doing because of his recommendation, you may do this also, is to use some tubing, in there also,
Oh,
which
definitely.
provides more. I actually have. I'll just get my starting clamps right next to me, and I'll tell you
Yeah.
what I put in. I still have to order the Kevlar. I don't have Kevlar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. The reason that I recommend Kevlar for sure is because with Kevlar, it's not going to give it all. Poly is still going to stretch a little bit, and you don't want to, like, have your tension off by anything. But
So
I mean,
I
it'll.
always have this. I don't know if you can tell right now. I just
Yeah, I can tell you got tubing in there because it's sharp around those corners because it does sometimes tear into it. So it's good to have that there.
and I was short the other day, a couple days ago. I was 2 inches shy of the tension head. So, I turn the racket, I lock it,
Yep.
put this in. It maybe added 20 seconds onto the string job. It's a little intimidating the first time you do it,
Hmm.
but it's an incredible
Hmm.
asset if you need it,
Hmm.
because in days past when I was an inexperienced stringer, it was a start over and waste of string. I did,
Yeah.
at one point I didn't realize that was an option.
Yeah. And so you can actually use, to answer the question, you can actually use the same clamp because the string that you're using, that you have in there, whether it's poly or Kevlar, is not um, you're not using it on the actual clamp itself. So you could still be using it to clamp off for tying your knots and pulling and so forth. But it's just having that string just hanging there is kind of a pain. So I would definitely and you don't want to always take it out and replace it, take it out and put back in. So I would definitely recommend getting two starting clamps. And if you have one that just grips a lot better than the other one, which generally happens after some wear, then use the one that grips better um, for the bridge, and use the other starting clamp for tying off and securing your knots and so forth. Because that you don't need as much leverage and so forth. So yeah, so that's what I would do there. So I
When
think we're both on agreement.
two, two of everything. I mean, it's not always easy to do, but especially if you have a business. I mean, just imagine it. If one thing is down, you might as well just have the whole machine down. Because if you have an essential piece not working, whether it's a clamp or whatever it is, you're out of business. And nowadays, with the shipping supply and this and that, a lot of places are out of stock of inventory. It's a horrible time to be down. So last year I had one machine. Before now I have a Wilson Biardo. I had a Gamma Progression ELS, which I still kept. I like it quite a bit, but I was starting to get worried if I lose just the plug-in, the power cord source. So I ordered a backup on the Gamma website, just so now I have two. If one of those fails or whatever, and I have extra clamps and I have extra this and that, just to be on the safe side. If it's really your business and it's not just you're stringing for yourself, but if you really want to do something with this, you don't need to have two Biardos. You don't need to have two amazing machines. But when I had just the Gamma Progression ELS, I thought about getting just a $400 or $500 drop weight as a backup, because at this point I had 50 or 60 clients. And I didn't want to say, hey, I'm down, you better go to this shop. Well, I'm down.
Yeah, and now your Gamma is your backup for your
Yeah,
Gallardo, so, you know, that
right.
works out well. You have that extra machine and stuff, and,
Yeah.
that's just I mean, yeah, that's definitely the way to go, so, yeah, you know, so back to that question from Saviv, you know, I the Tennis Warehouse University is kinda down right now for some reason. I tried about an hour ago to get on because I wanted to compare sensation because one of the questions was about sensation versus sensation plus,
Oh,
and I actually haven't used sensation plus, so I wanted to kinda look and compare, you know, and I guess that's something we can just talk about since we can't actually, you know, reference it right now because for some reason the Tennis Warehouse University part is not coming up on the web. I've tried it several times now. I've tried it on different browsers, so it's not on my side. But it's kind of like so you're what you know. So how do you process through figuring out for yourself which string is better or which string? You know, what should I? You know, is this a good string? Kind of like Saviv's question, like, okay, I somebody gave me a set of string and this is the name of the string. I'm not familiar with it. So what do I do first if I want to find out a little bit about the string and I want to find out if it's a good string or not? And so that's kind of what we were trying to do here, right? We were trying to go to, you know, that would be my first suggestion to anybody out there is go to Tennis Warehouse just because they have a good database of strings that they've
Tennis Warehouse University.
yeah, Tennis Warehouse University, because they've you know done all of the studies, you know, where you know they have a controlled lab, you know, where you know controlled situation where they keep all of the variables the same, so that it you know we can compare. Well, you know, if this one has such and such numbers, then we know and another one has such and such numbers, we can actually compare one's better than the other because they kept all those variables, probably using the same rackets, whatever it is, hopefully.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's one of the better resources that's free because there are some other resources out there where I think people, where some of the websites uh, will review some of the strings and do all of the tension uh, calibrations and all those kind of things. I can't think of the word, but I think you have to pay for some of the sites. So Tennis Warehouse University is a great place just to get that information. So what I would do is I would look at the string that you're currently using, look at the numbers as far as tension maintenance, look at spin potential, look at stiffness, and then look at the string that you're looking to switch to and look at the numbers and then you can kind of make a comparison because yeah, I mean on the surface Babolat Envy, you know, it's a multi-filament, it's probably softer, maybe it's uh, maybe has better tension maintenance, but than a lot of strings. But if you're already using a multi-filament, who knows? Your multi-filament might have better
Totally.
tension maintenance than this string. And then you look at the cost, you look at the prices. So you know that's kind of what we would do, and I would do the same thing for the sensation because one of the questions that came up this week is could you give me information about Wilson Sensation Plus? Is it better than regular Sensation? You know, I've had a lot of experience with just Wilson Sensation, and you know if you compare it to some of the more premium, more expensive multi-filaments like Wilson NXT or Biphase or Technifiber NRG2, you know, it's not as soft, it's not as uh, you know, giving on some areas. It's a little I don't want to say stiffer, but it's a little more firm, right? And
Yeah.
it's a but it is a great multi-filament. So then if you're comparing that and you're comparing it with the plus, you're trying to get an idea, well, what's the plus like? Well, I mean, the only thing I know about the plus is it has an extra, you know, it does have an extra wrapping of durability
Got
on it, and it's supposed to keep tension a little bit better from what it says. And so then I was going to look that up, but I wasn't able to see if Tennis Warehouse University has the review on on the Sensation Plus. I'm not sure if they've reviewed it or not, because then you could compare it to the Sensation and see what the numbers are to see if it's actually better if you want to go with it. Because if it if you're losing more tension with it, or if it's really stiff, or if it has some other numbers that just have are not as good, then it might not be worth switching, right? So
Right.
that's just my thought on that. So I'll just have to leave it at that because right now I'm not able to look it up. Is that what you're trying to do as well? You're trying to
Yeah, I
go
was
on?
trying to look it up. It's not on your end. Um, so it's not working on my end also.
Yeah, yeah, they must maybe it's down for maintenance or they're just down for too many people researching strings, right?
Yeah. That is-
So, we're always talking about equipment. We're always talking about stringing machines and professional machines. And I was looking at the latest episode of the RSI magazine. I'm sure you get it, maybe not, but you probably read
yeah, I
it
do.
online.
Yep.
And for since you also teach, it's probably good for that because there's a lot of USPTR information on there and a lot about tennis teaching and a lot of the pages now are including pickleball and paddle tennis, and so that's kind of taken over a little bit. And they'll do reviews on some of the tennis pro shops, and there's usually one or two that they look at, and then you can learn a little bit about how they handle their maybe their marketing, maybe how their success has gone over the years, how they've done so well, and what have they done right, what's been
Right.
challenged for them. And so you can kind of look at some of that. And one of the ones that was highlighted this year out of New Mexico, they've done some, it's at a tennis facility, so it's considered really a pro shop, but they have a pretty good offering and they've had pretty good sales the last couple of years. And I think they string about 1,000 to 1,200 rackets a year,
Okay.
or so. So it's not a giant shop, but it's decent. And they actually still use the old uh, drop weight, or not drop weight, but the old crank machines. The
Okay.
Prince. You can see him there in the foreground,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Yeah, and so I was kind of surprised because there are still I see that more at pro shops than maybe standalone shops because pro shops they're usually run by the facility, right? They're
Yeah.
usually run by whoever manages that, and they don't always take the biggest you know modernizing, getting into the technical aspects. They're just kind of there, I think, to um, just that's just the service that they provide. And as long as we can string the rackets for our members, that's fine. I think it takes somebody to come in there and go, hey, you know what, we really need to upgrade this, make it worth their. I think it's just takes somebody who takes a little bit more effort into it, I think. But
Yeah.
but
Right.
yeah, it's possible. It's still possible. There's still manual machines out there.
I think Savi was thanking you for. I think you did suggest a 4G with NXT, and he seemed to have success with that. So that was. I'm glad it worked out for him.
Yeah, and actually, he could use that the Babolat string that he got as the crosses if he wants to make a
Compare.
hybrid.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of, especially since it's a secondary, going into the crosses, right? If he's using the poly and the mains and stuff. So
You know, one thing that was interesting is that I heard that Barty used head natural gut in the her racket in the finals of the Australian Open, and I made the comment I didn't even realize that head had a natural gut, and what the answer was they don't. It's not available to the public. She's the only one in the world using it right now. It hasn't been released yet.
yeah, because I know that Head. Remember, I think it was at the symposium or at
Because they mentioned
The
it, right?
ERSA. They mentioned that Head is really they're really increasing their complete line of offerings when it comes to strings. They've upgraded their machines, right? So now they have a really good professional machine,
Yep.
and they want to also fill in their line where they have some missing places. And I think natural gut and some of the other, just to kind of make sure that they can meet the whole market need. And
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a market need that they haven't been able to meet in the past. and it would be interesting to see because all of the natural guts that you string, they all seem to be a little bit different in what they have to offer, right? I
Hmm.
mean, some of them are drier than other. You don't feel like they have as much that you have to be more careful with because sometimes the strands will, come undone a little easier. Some of them just have more of a have an extra durability component to it. Some of them feel a little bit more rubbery than others. That's the best word I
Yeah,
can describe it. I don't know how to describe it, but
even
they
oil.
all have a different feel, and you just have to try them all. I mean, we know that Babylon, their gut is premium. You don't have a problem if you use that, right?
Right.
So that's but you've got Vocal, you've got uh, Pacific, you've got I think Pacific's still around.
Torna had gut. You've got
Torna, yeah. I mean, there's
Clip,
so many different ones, and
Wilson, Clip.
Wilson, yeah. So there's a lot. Clip, right? So there's a lot. So you just need to try because cost wise, there's probably a benefit to you trying some lesser priced gut because that is a step above pretty much a majority of multifilaments that you're going to be choosing. So
Yeah.
why not? And sometimes the price is not that much difference unless you're starting to talk about some of the real premium natural guts. Because
Yeah.
there's a website actually on my Instagram, they had, you know, uh, followed me or whatever. And so I looked them up and they're like, naturalgutwholesale.com or something.
Yeah.
I don't
There's
I don't know. I forget which one. And they sell different variations of natural gut, but I think their prices start at about 16 to
that's what I was gonna
$18 a
say. Yeah.
set, something like that when they're on sale.
Yep.
And I was thinking about, checking that out and maybe getting a set or two. Um, but, I know they also have some of their natural gut has a color to it, like, it's dyed like,
Okay.
black or orange or whatever, and I'm not so sure how I feel about, uh, natural gut strings that are not in their natural, uh, orientation
Well, Bab
because
does that too. They dye one black. I strung one the other day. It was dyed black. I have one right. Where was it?
I've I've always kinda said that anytime you add that extra dye to it, it changes the
It does.
playability of it, no
Mhm.
matter what kind of string. I mean, it could be, even
Synthetic
the,
gut.
uh even the synthetics and the multifilaments. I don't like to use anything, that's got an extra layer of dye on it, or just
Yeah.
for whatever reason. Maybe it's just me, but, I think I've had other, stringers mention that they kinda feel the same way, just,
I agree.
you know, but so what do you have? You have some strings that are,
No, I was just
your
saying I
former.
strung a racket for a guy the other day, and he just wanted the RPM blast in the mains and the and the gut and the crosses. And the way it usually comes in a hybrid pack, but I'm out of the hybrid pack, so I just split up. I had the VS natural gut. I had a full set, and it was in black. I have it in natural and black because a few of the people I string for like the black natural gut. So then I just put them together. I have a half a set of the RPM blast in here, and the
Mhm.
other half of the natural gut in here. So when they want that hybrid next time, I'll do that again.
Oh, good. Yeah, and I don't know if natural gut in general has gone up yet in price because I know last year at the end of the year, the kind of the word out the street was kind of that natural gut was going to go up in price, especially with Babolat and so forth. I think like 12% or something. I don't know if it's gone up or not. I was just going to go on the Tennis Warehouse website, and look because their regular website's up. It's just the university one is not up.
Yeah,
So
you
which
said
is kind
it's
of
been Ryan
yeah.
days.
So okay, so I can get on the regular Tennis Warehouse and okay, natural gut. Yeah, their price right now on the well, their touch is, $35 and oh yeah, it did go up. Remember it was $45, right?
Yeah.
It is now 51.95 for touch VS. I knew, yeah, so we were right. Yeah, we were right. We called that one when we heard it.
It was $45.
Yeah, it went up $7. That's about 12%. Well, I don't know what that is.
What I do
40.
when I buy string is I pretty much write the price in the
Mhm.
corner that I got it for. So so I don't have to look it up because sometimes I forget what the prices were.
So you better charge more. You better
Yeah,
adjust your prices now
this is
because
this is going up.
this is going up. Yeah. How many sets do you have?
I just have 1.5 sets of that one, and then I have some Wilson natural gut, and I
Oh,
have
you know what? I bet let me look at Wilson. Let me look at their price because I'm wondering if this is across the board because Wilson. No, you know what? I don't think so because Wilson Natural Gut is 41.95.
yeah, that's what it was when I got it. Yep.
So I think and Vocal is 35.99. And again, we're talking about retail prices here, right? That
Yeah.
that most folks can get. You can if you have an account with some of the other online as wholesaler accounts and stuff, you get a better deal. Is un Clip uncoated is 31.99. If you've never strung natural gut, I would not recommend starting with stringing an uncoated natural gut.
Gotcha.
Because as you're learning, if it's coated, then at least it's going to give you some of them are going to be a little easier to string and they're not going to unravel on you. But an uncoated might give you a little bit more trouble. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Clip's got one on sale. The Legend Natural Gut is on sale for $29. That's
It's
not a bad deal. I mean, they have it listed that it was 52 regular. I don't think they've
wow.
ever. I don't think they would ever sell. Clip's not going to sell for $52 a set. I
No
think
way.
that's the old, it's top retail price or whatever. And you can buy them in half sets here too. But yeah, I think it's just the Babolat ones that went up.
Huh.
The other ones are still the same price. So now, if you think about it, if Wilson is at 41.95 and it's a decent gut, are you really going to go an extra $10 to buy VS?
No kidding. When you can just say, "Hey, this is what Federer uses."
This
Oh,
is Yeah, I
kind
mean,
of good
it's
enough for
decent
Roger.
gut, right? Do you
Yeah.
really need to spend an extra $10? So now it's going to cost you $75 basically to have a racket strung
Yeah.
with with uh natural gut, right?
Right. Yeah.
With Babolat gut. So yeah, that's getting pricey. But it does have good tension maintenance and but
Well,
yeah,
unbelievable playability. It's just
yeah,
tremendous
nothing.
touch and feel and stuff. So, and if you're a club player who's only stringing the rackets 2, 3 times a year,
Mhm.
especially for seniors, 65 plus, there's no other string I would put in my racket.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's just you got to just keep up to date on all the prices and everything because um things adjust and inflation things are going to keep going up, so you got to adjust your prices because otherwise you're basically losing money, right? But you've got to educate your clients about, hey, everything is going up in price.
Yeah.
You can check it out yourself, and but you have to adjust every once in a while because otherwise it's you that's getting getting less of a
Yeah.
your margins are gonna be down. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else today. I just wanted to kind of just come on and just say, hey, thanks to everybody who's been subscribing and watching, and it's been fun just kind of going going on this journey and just seeing how we can build a community. And I think anybody who wants to come on the channel, just send me an email. You can find my email, I think, in the description or in the about section in my YouTube, and just say, hey, I'd like to come on your channel. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and that'd be fun. We can have a few other folks come on at the same time, and we can just have a live chat, and hopefully we'll get some more guests on as well, and get Herb on here, and maybe some new guests as well. I think I have a few other people I'm still needing to get back to, and we could just have that on our weekly show, and then during the week I'll be getting back to doing some more tutorials.
Yeah.
And Brad, we still have to do uh, a little string competition to see how fast we can string.
Yeah. Because we all got the same machine.
We got the same machine, and we'll just have to make sure we all are using a 16 by 19 pattern, and we'll
So,
set a few ground rules, and then maybe we can, I'll have my camera on my machine, you can have your camera, we'll start a timer, kind of see how we can do, and just for fun, right?
yeah, that'd be great. That would be a
So
lot of fun. We'll use the same string. We'll just probably use a cheap string, right? Because we'll
yeah,
be,
just what, a synthetic 16 gauge,
yeah.
just and we'll have it pre-cut 40 feet, and then you're going to have to cut it in half, or whatever. You can string around the world if you want,
Hmm.
or two piece, whatever, you know,
Yeah,
that's up to you. But the racket has to be a 16 by 19 pattern.
sounds good.
And then, we'll just start it at the same time, and we'll have the racket sitting there. You have to mount it, string it, and take it off the machine, and that'll be it. And then we'll have fun with it. So
Yeah, that'd be
yeah,
great.
we'll have to plan that. Maybe in the next couple weeks or something, we can
Sure.
get that done.
And we'll make it a yearly event, so the loser at least feels like, hey, they another year they get another crack at it.
Yeah, we'll have to do it for a set of string or something.
Yeah, sounds
So
good.
I'll have to practice. I'll have to
Or a trip
practice a
to
little bit.
Hawaii, maybe.
Yeah.
If I fly me out
Yeah.
to Hawaii.
Yeah, you can come out here and I'll go to New York or something.
There you go. Uh,
But yeah, hey, well, it was good seeing you today, and we'll just plan on some stuff this week, and just look for our next broadcast next weekend. We'll probably be back to Saturday next week, maybe,
yeah,
because we just had to change it up this week for other obligations. But no, I mean, yeah, let's get back to doing that, and I got to make some more videos, and keep going, and building the community, and hopefully being able to support others, and being able to answer questions, and so forth. So
hopefully
I
from
don't always know the answer, but
yeah,
if I can help you find where you can get the answer, that'd be the way to go. So
yeah, and
um,
I'll work on that Tennis Warehouse University. See if we can have an answer for Savi for next week if they get back online.
yep. Oh, you know what? We were just going to get off, and then somebody just got on and said, "Are you guys answering questions?" And he said, "I'd love your opinion."
Sure.
And I'm like, "Okay, well, we're still here. We'll take that as our last question. So if M Loving is
Still,
has a question and wants to put it in the chat, then we can answer it. Let's see if he gets a question on there in the next minute or two, and then be happy to answer that." And yeah, that's
and
natural
like I
got.
was saying, well, if Tennis Warehouse University will try to get that answer to Savi. I've I
Yeah,
42 rackets in January, which I was pretty pleased with. It's pretty cold here in Rochester, and so far I've done about 7 rackets this month. So, if I can
yeah,
do,
and you have indoor courts there and stuff, so
yep,
at least you have that, continually going on and stuff. And
right.
yeah, let me try the Tennis Warehouse one more time here. Tennis Warehouse University. See if it comes up.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
down.
Yep. It's not coming up.
And I was trying to
So
USRSA website, but I couldn't quite remember my password. You know what I mean?
oh, yeah. Sometimes I just have that set up or whatever, but I don't go on there that often.
I have it
Um,
set up on my
but
computer.
but it is good for, like, if you even for proportional stringing, they have a calculator. If you just want to, I mean, they do have some videos and resources and things. So it is good to keep up with it. Okay, so we have the question. He is asking, I'm stringing a natural gut hybrid and wanted to try with Hyper G, but I'm worried about the four-sided string digging into the gut. The Bryan brothers are the only ones I see that use that combo. Is that something to stay away from? Well, that's a good question. I think we've talked on about that before. Brad, I'll let you start with that one if you want to touch on it.
Well, I guess a lot of it depends. Is you know, what are you hoping to accomplish with the combination? What kind of player are you? What style of player are you? Is breaking strings a problem for you? I know natural gut is expensive. Is the budget? Is it something? It's a big hit for some people. For other people, it's not a big hit. For
Yeah.
me, breaks.
But I think his big portion I think his big question was, am I going to have a problem with the hyper G because of the four-sided string? That's, I think, his biggest thing.
Well,
It was more related to like that portion of it.
have a problem with the strings breaking faster because of that
Yeah, I
is
think
what.
that's what he's alluding to, because you know how we talk about that sometimes, right? Depending on
Yeah,
what kind of natural gut. If it's a natural gut that's coated and has an extra durability protection on it, that might be a better thing. But
yeah,
yet, anytime that you're putting up, I'm assuming the natural gut's in the crosses as well. And anytime you put up a natural gut with a textured string,
yeah.
you always have the risk of premature breakage on the string, because it is possible to break the crosses, and you will, if there's too much friction.
Player.
If there's too much friction, it's too tight, you have a really tight pattern, or even any pattern, for that matter. So it's one of those things. My suggestion is, give it a try. Um, if you find that it doesn't last, that you end up actually breaking the cross, you might need to go to a different poly instead of the hyper G, maybe a smoother string, and try that.
And what gauge gut are you currently using? I mean, I
Right.
hope it's 16 gauge,
Yeah.
but not
Yeah.
necessarily. So I would
Yeah.
definitely 16
Right.
gauge. And again, yeah, if you're breaking them fast, I would just try it, like Pat says. You're already in a hybrid, right? So
Yeah.
he's
I mean,
already.
he's more of an advanced player, I guess, and he says that he just wants more pop and more comfort and touch. What about a tension adjustment for the hybrid? He's using 16 gauge. The gut is 16 gauge. Well, so that's good. So that should probably be, that shouldn't be too bad then. Having the 16 gauge, at least you have a better chance of um, not wearing it too prematurely on that. And tension wise, uh, whatever you're used to playing before you use this hybrid, I would say either go 2 pounds more with the gut, or leave it the same and go a little bit lower with the hyper G,
Right.
depending on where he's at. With those adjustments, 2 to 4 pound difference is probably, going to keep any problems away from the racket. You don't have to worry about that. He normally uses a full bed of Hyper G 17 and then 16
What's
gauge.
that? 17. I don't get that. 17 main, 16 crosses.
Yeah, that's what that means. Yeah.
But
So he,
why would you put a thicker? Wouldn't you put the thicker in the main if you don't want to break it? Why would you put a thicker in the cross? If you wanted a little stiffer in the cross, I guess, but you're looking for comfort with the gut.
yeah, yeah, I would. Oh, you know what? Maybe he's talking to I know. Yeah, I don't. I would have done it the opposite if I was using a full. If I was using a full bed of Hyper G, I would have. Yeah, if I wanted, I would definitely use a thinner gauge on the crosses, no matter what I'm putting on the mains,
Yeah,
because it's just going to be better no matter what, and you're not going to break the crosses if you have poly all the way around. You're going to break the mains. But in this case, because you're using gut on the crosses now, um, stick with the 17 on the mains with the Hyper G, and go with the 16 gut on the crosses, and see how that does for
and
you.
you'll probably break the crosses first, of course. And the other question is, are you going to get adequate snapback with the Hyper G in the mains if you're looking for pop and spin?
Yeah,
Might there
probably not.
And we did a show about that a week or two ago in Tennis Warehouse. Another great asset is it really gets into that snapback category, and you can actually look at strings that do very very well in that snapback category that has
Mhm.
a lot of impact on the spin.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we could talk for the next, another hour on just this setup right here and some nuances to it and stuff. But
But
yeah,
I'd love
just
you to try.
try it.
No, let
Yeah,
it.
he's gonna and he hits with a lot of spin anyways. So um,
Okay.
I'm gonna say that it's probably in just from my experience of what I know, I would say he's probably gonna have a little bit premature wear on that. But it might not be so
What level player
bad.
or do you have a UTR ranking or
He said advanced, so he probably,
okay,
hits the
college,
ball, he probably has
adult?
pace and stuff on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
so
that's
yeah, I would just say, especially since he hits with a lot of spin already,
yeah.
um, but yeah, I would, give it a shot, and if the gut doesn't end up working out for you because it's too premature, then you're gonna I mean,
College.
you could go with a 15 gauge gut, or you could just go with a multi-filament in the crosses. Go
Well,
with
that's
the
true too, which yeah, if you don't mind it breaking, you could try,
Yeah.
you know,
He's a college player. He's a college player, so,
yep. And so you could try an NXT or they even have 15 gauge, right, multi-filaments that you could
yeah. NXT is one of them that comes in a 15 gauge, so,
what
yeah.
is that?
Yeah, NXT does come in
Oh
a
yeah.
15 gauge. Remember that one, the one that's more durable, I think, comes in a
Yeah.
15 gauge, the one that holds tension really well. We talked about
Yeah.
that. I think it's Max or it's, do yeah, I forget which one now, but yeah, definitely give that a try first, what you have, and then just kind of back off a little bit, and you have to make a decision. Go, if I really like the Hyper G, then you're going to have to make whatever modifications to the crosses. If you're willing to change up the poly string, then go with something that's not so textured. Go
Yeah.
with more of a smooth poly and give that a shot. But
And good
but
luck with your season.
yeah, yeah, NXT is good too. Yeah,
Yeah, there is
yeah,
nothing like natural gut. I second that. I use natural gut in a full bed
yeah.
just for comfort for my, I've had arm issues and stuff, and now I, just teach and hit with some of my students. But there is nothing like natural gut is just so comfortable.
Yep, yep. Well, I think we got that answered, and yeah, let us know next week or some other time. Just drop us a note how that ends up working out for you, and we'll just take it from there. So that's all I have for today. Brad, any final thoughts?
No,
Comment?
thanks again. The weeks go by fast. It's fun to get together and talk, and appreciate all the comments from folks that tune in and stuff. So I look forward to hearing what M. Loving thought of that setup, how long it lasted him compared to what he's using now, and yeah, just look forward to next week and seeing what this season brings and what new changes are out there. We'll try to keep on top of what Nadell's using. If he switches the thickness of his gauge, it'll be interesting, and any other players out there, any other big changes and.
Yep, yep. And again, thanks to all the subscribers so far. It's been a fun journey up to this point, and we're looking forward to many more. So,
Yeah,
all right, all right. So we'll talk to everybody next week.
see you, Pat. Yep.
Bye.